since OF creators started to blow up, we've seen an influx of young underage influencers trying to follow in their footsteps and grow their following so when they hit 18, they can pursue their OF careers. This is a very concerning and harmful path for young girls. Hi, my name is Jaden and I make commentary videos on culture, media, and kind of what's going on in the world that I feel like yapping about. And today I wanted to yap about OF creators, the Bob House, Hyper Raquel, and how OF creators are influencing the younger generation to kind of want to pursue sex work instead of careers. OnlyFans was launched in 2016 but didn't really blow up until the pandemic in 2020 because obviously everyone was home and they needed something to do. A lot of those creators moved to OF because they lost their jobs and they needed another source of income, which is kind of why it started to blow up and a lot more people were at home and kind of wanted to watch more explicit content. The main creators that are the most popular on this platform are typically younger women in their early 20s who have a more youthful appearance. The type of content, if you're not aware, which if you're not, you're so innocent and maybe click off because I don't want to kill your innocence. The type of content on OF is like bikini pics to full nudity to sexual videos, and you can kind of, put together the rest of the pieces of what kind of content is on there. A lot of these creators are also making millions of dollars. That's not the average. The average creator on this platform typically makes minimum wage, maybe even less. And people don't seem to realize that because obviously in media, they're only going to talk about who's popular and how much money they're making. So a lot of people are under the impression that it's a quick way to make money, whereas in reality, it actually requires a lot of marketing and work to actually grow your platform, just like any social media platform. Let's enter the Bop House. What is a bop, first of all? A bop is a slang term that objectifies women in a way. It is pretty much a way to label young women as being more promiscuous and sexual and that they have a very active and non-exclusive sex life. That is the most PG way I can phrase it. Yeah. Now, what is the Bop House, you might wonder? Do you remember Playboy when Playboy magazines were a pretty big thing back in the day and there was the Playboy Mansion? Think of it like that, but for the digital creators in the sex work industry. The Bop House is a group of very successful, very wealthy, and very young OnlyFans creators that have their own content house. So a content house, I'm sure you've heard of content houses, like back when the Hype House was a thing. That's kind of what it is, where they all film content together in this house. Is anyone else think drinking water is low-key embarrassing, or is that just me? Because I get so embarrassed eating and drinking in front of people. Anyways, so this group of highly successful OF creators moved into a house together and titled it the Bop House, kind of as a way to take the word and make it something not so negative. And obviously, they blew up since they were already super successful, and when you have a bunch of rich, beautiful, successful young women all filming content together in one house together, that is gonna make a lot of money and get a lot of traction. It's important to note that the main audience for the Bop House and OF creators is typically older men, as they are paying to see this type of content, okay? Now, the Bop House, they have their own TikTok account, and TikTok, as we know, it's an open platform for anyone to access regardless of your age, despite the age laws saying you have to be 13. People don't follow that. There are young kids on this app. Keep that in mind. Now that we know what the Bop House is, what OF is, who these creators kind of are, who their audience is, and we're all familiar with TikTok, I just discussed, that is the platform anyone of any age can access, whereas OF has an 18 plus age limit. Now we enter our main topic, of this issue, 17-year-old Piper Raquel. Who is Piper Raquel, this 17-year-old girl? She has been online since 2017 when she was 9 years old, and she has now over 13 million TikTok followers, and then another like 5 million or so on Instagram and various other platforms. Piper started off on YouTube very young, and her videos were just kind of videos and vlogs of her hanging out with her friends and living her life. Family vlog channel kind of situation. See my previous video for my take on family content. This kind of ties into it a bit because she started involving her friends in her content. That was all filmed by her mother, and there was a lawsuit towards her mother for this type of content. She was forcing her daughter's friends, who are all children, I believe they were about 11 of these children, and they were part of the like Piper squad or whatever she called it, because back in like 2015, 2016, those squads were like all the rage. Everyone wanted to have like a friend group squad. Why did Piper and her mom get sued though when they were making this type of content? What would lead to a preteen girl and 11 of her friends, all of those friends and parents, now filing a lawsuit against this young girl and her mother who were simply just filming content? The lawsuit was filed for child exploitation. What a twist! Is anyone surprised? Child exploitation and abuse, to be more precise. And it's alleged that Piper's mom did not pay these kids for being in the content, and she was physically, emotionally, and verbally abusing the children. There were some cases where some of these children did speak out, and they did mention that the mother would tell them to change into tighter clothing, something more revealing, and to touch each other more, and she wasn't afraid to put her hands on them either in order to show them what they should be doing for the camera. Yeah, these kids were like 10 and 11 years old, mind you. That's awful. Since a young age, we now know that Piper has been posting inappropriate and controversial content. Technically not Piper is the one posting it, it is her mom. Because if you look at her accounts, everything does say managed by mom, which means her mom is the one giving her approval to film these types of content. Typically her mom is the one behind the camera filming and editing, and most likely writing the scripts and directing. So all of this is okayed by her mother. Now Piper, 17 years old, faced another controversy in February of 2025. This was only a few weeks ago. This is fresh news, and it is disturbing, and you might have heard about this, but let's take a look at it. A lot of people started commenting on Piper's TikTok account because she's 17, she's gonna be 18, and a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, are you gonna join the Bop House? You look so much like Sophia Rain, who is one of like content creators in the Bop House. And then she went to the Bop House, 17-year-old, still a minor, went to the Bop House, the 18 plus OF creators content house. They started posting videos together, like quite a lot of videos actually, because like when I was doing my research for this video, they did not just post like 1 or 2 videos. No, they posted like over 10 videos each, which is a lot. And the comments on these videos, oh my freaking gosh, the comments on these videos are scary. Of course, there is a handful of comments pointing out that Piper is still a minor and this kind of content is inappropriate and she should not be associated with these types of people. But then there's the other batch of commenters and viewers who are leaving comments saying they can't wait for her to be 18. When is she gonna join the house? We can't wait for her birthday. So gross. Obviously, this started a lot of drama online because Piper is 17, that is a minor, and these girls are making adult content and they're collaborating with a 17-year-old girl. What kind of following did we say the Bop House had again? That's right! Older men that want to see youthful girls be provocative. So, when you do a collab with people, you're exchanging viewers, in a sense, and followers. You are promoting the other person. You are bringing people to, to their accounts to make them more familiar with them. And these people that are older men following these girls who make their 18 plus content are now going to follow Piper, who is going to be 18 soon. And they just can't wait for that young girl to be a legal adult. Absolutely disgusting. Since this started so much drama, Sophie Rain actually made a statement, and it says here, she wrote in the comments of the video, "She came to my house, not even the Bop House." Rain also posted a video on her account of her and some of her housemates dancing with Raquel, while Raquel shared a video about how she's copying her. The official Bop House TikTok account posted their own reply to critics, writing, "How many videos are people gonna make about us doing TikToks with Piper?" In the caption they added, "We're just chillin', making TikToks." It doesn't matter if you're not filming the explicit content directly with this girl. It's the fact that she is a minor and you are making your following aware of this girl who's still a minor that's going to be 18 soon. They are milking the fact that so many people think that Piper is a beautiful young girl and that she will be an honorary member of this house, and they are essentially grooming her to join their content house and get a lot of followers from her, which is, I don't know if it's illegal, but it should be illegal because they should not be allowed to collab with someone who is so young. I don't care if she's 17. I don't care if she turned 18 a day after you filmed that or the day before you filmed that. It's not okay. And it's just, no, it's just wrong in so many levels. Speaking of Piper and her making those videos, there was also another thing she has on her accounts, which are run by her mother, don't forget this, that are behind a paywall to get exclusive content from her. It says Piper launched a private subscription-based content site that is pretty much borderline CP. Creator Kendall Kuiper on TikTok posted a video explaining this, and I'm going to play Kendall's video just because she was the one who posted about it and I want to give her the credit, so roll the clip.
Piper Raquel's mother needs to be in prison. I hate that I'm even bringing attention to this. I feel gross, but I haven't fucking seen people talking about this. So I was saying in my last video how I found this page in the bottom of her bio. Again, it says it's parent managed and there's different tiers to this page. One is more expensive than the other, but there's a free one. And all you do is you put in your email and then you have an account. And then this is just the free tier, mind you, okay? Baby Blues mini set, 8 images, private TikTok. This is her and her friend in a Playboy bunny themed room. But don't worry, just in case you wanted another version of this set for $250 in the Japanese style baby blue striped bikinis with matching knee-high private TikTok available. What? We have a Valentine's Day set for $150 of 90 images and 4 private looks. And keep in mind, like I said, on this page and her links, there are tiers and there are different prices that you can pay for different things. That was the free thing. That was free. What the fuck?
It is absolutely disgusting that her mother is allowing this type of content and supporting this type of content and has been since Piper was 9 years old. How does this type of content affect the younger generation now? We know that Piper has been online since she was a kid, which means she did have a younger demographic, at least at some point. Although now her demographic has definitely leaned more towards older men, but there's still younger girls that will look up to her and see her as a positive influence, which is dangerous. I've noticed a trend with a lot of younger women and girls on social media that are trying now to be more promiscuous despite them being minors, and trying to pave a path and a following up until they're 18 so they can do OF, which is pretty concerning. And there's a lot of creators that have been exploited since they were kids, and their parents are encouraging them to pursue this type of career. There was an investigation by the BBC, and they found out that girls as young as 13 managed to create accounts on OnlyFans. Police and Child Protective Services said they received many reports from various concerned parents and younger girls that had access to posting this type of content, and they were getting money from it, and that is very illegal and very unsafe. And these girls, they managed to get through the verification process because they were using like their parents' documentation or their grandparents' like IDs and stuff in order to pass the verification checks and prove that they were adults when in reality they are preteens. Unfortunately, a lot of younger girls are considering just not pursuing anything after high school and just wait until they turn 18 to sign up for these types of accounts and get into sex work right out of school, because they've been pushed to believe by social media that it's an easy way to make money and that they'll blow up and they'll never have to work a day in their lives. But that's not the case, because we're only seeing the actual successful people being talked about, whereas the actual industry of sex work in general is a pretty hard work environment to get into and to handle, especially when you are constantly being objectified by people. And it really takes like a specific kind of person to be able to thrive in that type of work environment, and also to be safe, because people are creepy, and creepy people will go on they'll do so much to try to find these creators, and a lot of them have had stories involving stalkers or like home invasions from these people that are following them and get a little too obsessed with them. Children in general are easily convinced online from things they see because they're not fully developed. There's a reason that these types of websites and everything have age limitations. And the fact that it's scientific that children are underdeveloped. They haven't learned right from wrong, what's the right thing to do, what they should be doing, what's healthy, what's safe. They just know what they see and take it as fact, because kids don't have their prefrontal cortex fully developed enough to understand these types of situations and what the good and what the bad might be from these outcomes. Children will just see these OF creators posting on TikTok about their latest vacation or the latest Chanel bag they got, and just say I just made all this money and I don't even work. And then obviously to a kid, they'll be like, well, my parents always stressed about work and I don't want to do that. So whatever this OnlyFans thing is, it must be a good idea so I can make money. That's not the case. Especially with all these creators posting and promoting their explicit content on public social media platforms that anyone can see. Younger girls will see it and be like, these girls are beautiful, I love everything they're doing, I want to be just like them, and then they're going to follow in their footsteps. I don't necessarily have a problem with people in that industry. The thing I have a problem with is them encouraging younger girls to partake in that industry, knowing that it's not all sunshine and rainbows and that there's a lot of dangers and risks of being involved in this type of industry. There's a lot of negative aspects that come with this type of industry. And one of the biggest ones being objectification and stigma. Obviously, we know that there is a pretty big stigma towards sex workers in general, which to each their own, and it depends on how you're partaking in the industry. And if you're like willingly and you're safely doing it and whatever, versus if you're forced into it, that's an entirely different conversation. But then there's the objectification, is some men are just mean and rude and judgmental, and they will only see you as an object and think, since they're paying to see this type of content, that they have the rights to do whatever they want with it and with your information, which is very dangerous. Then there's the psychological aspect. Obviously, with any form of content creation, you're gonna have people that love you and people that don't. It's even more vulnerable though when you are posting all of you and people will respond to that. They might completely obliterate you in the comments or send you death threats or insult your body, and that can also lead to some pretty serious issues with self-appearance and food in general, because you're essentially being a model, and we know the modeling industry in general is a toxic environment as well. And it's even worse when it is online related, because online people do not hold back. A lot of the creators will also feel a lot of pressure to be perfect constantly. There's self-esteem aspect. They'll never feel good enough. They'll keep doing more outlandish things, and they could possibly do dangerous things, or they'll feel guilty about the type of content they're doing, or someone will say something that will hurt them, or they're comparing themselves to other models on there. It just fully will like take over your brain. Then of course there's the aspect of what's online is there forever. You can't fully erase content from the internet no matter how hard you try. You can't just wipe everything clean. So maybe you did create an OF and you realized it wasn't your thing and it made you feel uncomfortable, or people were creeping you out. That content is still going to be there forever, even if you delete your account or deactivate it, whatever. People save stuff. Stuff stays forever. Everything's encrypted onto the computers and phones. There's no way to get rid of it, and it's just important that people are safe online and not, like saying where they live, their name, their address, whatever. And obviously keeping like their IP address safe and secure, but not a lot of people follow internet safety and don't give these types of things second thought. Okay, so that was kind of the gist of what I wanted to talk about involving how this type of industry is being promoted to younger girls, and we're seeing it now like visually for ourselves through what's going on with Piper and the Bob House. And it's not just limited to her. I was doing research, and there's a lot of other girls that are trying to do this type of thing. Even on TikTok, there's minors posting like Bob House auditions and stuff. It's a scary world. Personally, I feel like you should be 21 plus to post that type of content, just because when you're like 18, you're still a baby, okay? When I was 18, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no clue what I wanted to do or who I was. I was still figuring out my personal beliefs and values as a person and trying to figure out who I was and what I wanted to do with my life. I feel like 18 is just too young to make these kinds of decisions, especially something that can be as permanent and harmful. Of course, no hate to anyone that does want to pursue that type of job. Again, there's nothing wrong with it as long as you are of age and doing it safely and are actually happy doing it. It's just the younger people that we kind of got to look out for and make sure that they are at least aware of the types of dangers and kind of educating them and not letting them give up on themselves, because some people just turn to that type of work in general because they don't feel good enough. And then, external validation online, and then that can turn to hate, and it's just a whole never-ending cycle. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Do you think that Piper being in the Bob House's TikToks was just harmless fun? Or do you think that it can have some major issues down the line, as we're kind of seeing? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I love to hear everyone's thoughts, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Let me know. I'm just always open to listening, or reading, I guess, in that case. Anyways, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!